encampments on a regular basis. If you recall, after the pandemic, there were almost 300 residents living in encampments. We closed a number of encampments with offers of both shelters and apartments. Um, at one point, we placed over 100 people in apartments, and I checked not too long ago, and the rate, the sustainability rate was virtually at 100%, except for a couple of people who may have passed away. So the challenges are the same, and that is, when people do not come into shelter or get an apartment at the closure of an encampment, they tend to relocate and we have to find them.
Deputy Mayor, talking about the fact that the federal government was really the ones that stepped in and said, we're going to close this down if you don't, have they provided any support to you guys?
Well, admittedly, when we first got started, it was a little difficult to try to figure out how it would work. And as you are well aware, the first week we were getting to sites that they had already arrived, and sometimes they left before we got there. We worked out the communication protocol, and that's working really well. They now tell us, we found sites A, B, and C. Can you get your team over to close those sites? If you need assistance from any federal officials, let us know. And that has worked fairly well.
But no financial assistance in terms of actually getting people the resources they need?
Well, they provided a lot of resources in the surge. We have made a specific request for this particular effort for 40 additional staff, mostly clinical, that we would use to try to identify persons who are unhoused but not attached to tents. They have listened to us in the sense that we have indicated that many of these residents who are unhoused and not living in encampments have some mental health challenges, and they will need something other than just a show of force to be productively processed into homeless services.
Can you tell us about this location and any other locations you plan to go to, and why this area was selected?
I'll let Rachel handle the process for tonight's count.
Sure. So thank you.
Can you introduce yourself again?
Yes, my name is Rachel Pierre, and I am the director of the DC Department of Human Services. So we are actually covering the entire city. So we have teams who've assigned different spaces in the city. So this is just one of the area that we've been assigned ultimately to count. So we have a team lead who is a program manager and an outreach teams with the DC Department of Human Services, and he will take the lead, and we will just count the individuals that we encounter who are experiencing unsheltered homelessness tonight. So who we anticipate will probably spend the night outside.
Will the information shared tonight from the count be going to the federal government or shared with the federal government in any way? And then is there any indication that this information is going to be kind of in that communication flow you were talking about, helping identify and close down more encampments?
The decision to conduct this census was an internal district government decision based solely on our need to know where people now may be since the earlier disruption. There has been no discussion of providing information to the federal government. They have not asked for it. In fact, I'm not even sure they were aware we're doing it. This is solely to allow us to more efficiently identify where people are and try to bring them into shelter.
Okay, and then if there are going to be no interviews tonight, what criteria are you going to be using to consider if someone is unsheltered?
Well, the outreach staff are very experienced in working with this population. They will probably know most of the people that they see. So I don't think there will be any kind of extreme difficulty to the point that it would impact the numbers in any significant direction one way or another, resulting from an inability to determine whether or not somebody was unhoused.
How large are these groups, these outreach groups? Just 2 people, 3 people?
It's about 1 or 2 leads, and then I think about 2 or 3 volunteers per group.
And my last question is, can you just provide any information about the facility that you guys plan to open up next month, what that will look like, how that will help some of those who are out there?
Sure. So I want to start by saying that I think the mayor mentioned, and this is the message, that we currently have enough space to accommodate the demand of shelter. So anybody who wants to come into shelter, we encourage people to come in. We have enough capacity, and we are able to trigger and open more low barrier shelters to meet the demand. The facilities you may be referring to is that we will have an additional non-congregate shelter on East Street. So this facility at full capacity would accommodate about 170 individuals in private rooms, private bathrooms, and we're very excited to open the second non-congregate shelter in our space. This is a project that's been en route for the past 2 years, so we're very excited that it's finally opening up.
That's next month.
Yes, in September.
The 300 beds that the mayor announced, that include those 170 beds in the congregate shelter, or those in addition to the 170 beds?
The shelter bed.
It's the East Street end.
So East Street. So we're opening East Street. That's going to be about 190 beds, and then we have some other facilities that we are planning on opening to build the capacity to 300 additional beds.
So East Street plus those other capacities.
Yes.
What is your capacity?
So I'm not sure if you're aware that the district is a right to shelter jurisdiction during hypothermic condition. So we have for the every winter we build a capacity to meet the demand. So year round we have about 1,100 low barrier shelter. That does not include the beds in East Street or Aston, for example. And during the hypothermia season, we bring on anywhere between an additional 400 to 600 beds, and we have the ability to even bring additional beds online if need be. So we have a very flexible system that allows us to grow and scale to meet the demand for shelter.
The federal operation, the encampments are a lot less visible in some cases, but has that work helped or impeded the work that you do?
Well, I think it's pretty clear that the number of tents that were most visible, especially downtown, have been greatly diminished. So I think if the goal is to close encampments and then try to get people to shelter, that has helped. I mean, we have been long focused on trying to eliminate encampments across the city, and like I said, we've done a really, really good job. When in 2023 there were 200, almost 300 people living in encampments. They're down to about 128. So to the extent that we can work with the federal government, close encampments in a way that is humane, in a way that allows our outreach teams to get there first and provide the offer of homeless services, it can be beneficial.
And now you just want to bring them inside. That's the point of this?
That's the whole point of it, yes.
What is going to happen here now?
Here at this location?
Yes.
As soon as we are done with this press cargo, we have our team lead, again a member of the DC Department of Human Services, who will take us around and we'll start counting. So this is just a start-up point for the night.
Sorry?
This is just a start point for the night.
It's going to go on to 1:30?
Well, we'll go on until the area that the team is assigned to has been covered, and we are clear that we have counted everyone sleeping on the street tonight. So if we have to go around twice, then we'll do that.
Could you repeat the numbers you said of the encampments that were in existence and what they are now? You gave us two numbers.
Yes, in 2023, at the end of the pandemic, you recall that we could not, under guidance by CMS, we were asked not to close encampments during the pandemic, and also the shelters were reduced. Their capacity in shelters were reduced so as not to promote the spread of COVID. So as a result of that, and as a result of the fact that there was not much commerce going on in the city because of COVID, the number of tents and the number of encampments grew, and the number of people living in those encampments increased to 294 as of January of 2023. Now, there are, at the beginning of the surge, there were about 128 people in encampments. And we expect, or we suspect that once we finish this census, we will find that number has dropped appreciably.